Diddy in my city with a lit wrist. Known for knocking bitches off for talking slick shit. 2 rollies in a patty, I'm a rich bitch. Got an E-late in a beamer, bitch, I can't miss. Bitch, I'm still shining. Whole team winning. Bank account staying full, it ain't shit pending.
Make it make sense. A woman building a rap career, running her own boutique, almost done with her nursing degree, pregnant and happy. And somebody took all of that out on a quiet Atlanta street in the middle of the night. 4 shots. To the face. Let me tell you something. This was not an accident. Her name was Qualeisha Barnes, 36 years old, 14 weeks pregnant, sitting in a car she bought with her own money on a street she had every right to be on. And somebody walked up to that window and made a decision that can never be undone. And here is the part that will stay with you. The people who loved her say they already know why. They are not guessing. They are not assuming. They know. And if what the streets are saying lines up with what that family believes, then this was not just a murder. This was a message sent to a woman who refused to be quiet, refused to disappear, and refused to let go of her child. Welcome to Crime Narrative, the channel that sits with the stories nobody wants to tell, the stories that happen inside relationships, inside homes, inside the spaces where people are supposed to be safe. If this is your first time here, you are in the right place. Subscribe, because we are not letting Qualeisha Barnes become a forgotten name. Not here. Not today. Stay with me. This one is going to hit different. Qualeisha Barnes grew up in Southwest Detroit, Michigan. And if you know anything about Detroit, you know that city does not raise soft people. It shapes you. It puts something in you that does not break easy. Qualeisha had that Detroit in her bones. The hunger, the drive, the refusal to sit still and wait for something better when she could go out and build it herself. Her family was tight, the kind of household where love is not just said, it is shown, in presence, in proximity, in knowing each other the way only people who have shared the same walls can know each other. Her sister, Shatara Davis, put it in a way that cut straight to the heart of who Qualeisha really was. Not the brand, not the stage, but the person.
I know her as Qualeisha. I know her as Lily. I know her as we in the same house, in the same bed. That's what I know her as. All that friend stuff, I don't care about none of that. That was my sister. That was my baby.
Period. That is who we are talking about. Not a persona, not a following, somebody's baby sister. Now, the world outside that house knew her by a different name. In hip-hop circles, she went by Siditty. Sometimes, SoSittity. And if you heard that name and immediately pictured someone confident, glamorous, and completely unbothered by what anyone thought of her, you pictured her right. Her mother, Francine Lopez-Stewart, described her perfectly. She loved makeup, she loved dressing up, she loved beauty. That was Qualeisha, fully and unapologetically herself. But here is where people who only knew the name would have underestimated her. Because Siditty was not just a vibe, she was building something real. Over 103,000 followers on Instagram, earned one post at a time, real connections in the Detroit rap scene, names like PZ, I Swear Vetso, Babyface Ray, the kind of network that does not happen by accident. She was not waiting around hoping someone would notice her. She was showing up consistently and making herself impossible to ignore. She also ran SoSittity Boutique, her own e-commerce brand. She was the CEO, the buyer, the creative director, and the one packaging orders. All of it herself, from the ground up. Girl, she was not playing around. And on top of all of that, she was in nursing school, not just enrolled, on the dean's list, with approximately 2 semesters left before she graduated. Her sister talked about that with a pride that words can barely hold. She made the dean's list. She had 2 more semesters to go. She was so proud of herself, and they were so proud of her. So let's count what this woman was carrying at the same time. A rap career with a 6-figure following, an e-commerce business she built herself, a nursing degree nearly in her hands, and a pregnancy she was excited about. Oh, and one more thing. A brand new 2024 white Range Rover Sport that she bought herself, celebrated on Instagram with a giant red bow on the hood, jumping up and down with the kind of joy that you cannot fake. That car was proof that grinding works. proof that a girl from Southwest Detroit could move to a new city and build something that belongs to her and nobody else. She had been in the Atlanta area for about a decade by this point. She had planted roots. She had a life there that was fully, visibly, undeniably hers. And she was 14 weeks pregnant, a baby she had chosen to keep, a future she was already preparing for. Moving on, because this is the part where everything stops. April 8th, 2026, Southeast Atlanta, just after 1 o'clock in the morning, a call comes into the Atlanta Police Department, shots fired on Springside Place Southeast. Officers respond and find Qualeisha's white Range Rover Sport stopped in the middle of the road. Not parked, not pulled over on the side, stopped in the middle of the street, like time itself had just cut off. She was in the driver's seat, unresponsive, with multiple gunshot wounds. Her family confirmed what investigators found. She had been shot 4 times in the face. Emergency services were called immediately. There was nothing they could do. Qualeisha Barnes was pronounced dead at the scene. 36 years old, 14 weeks pregnant. And that Range Rover, the same car with the red bow, the same car she had posted on Instagram with pure joy on her face, was now a crime scene. Somewhere in Detroit, a family's phone rang, and everything changed. Now, let's talk about what 4 shots to the face actually means in the context of this case, because that detail is not just devastating, it is telling. Robberies do not look like this. Wrong place, wrong time situations do not look like this. You do not shoot someone 4 times in the face over a chain, a wallet, or nothing. That kind of violence is not impulsive, it is not random, and it is not accidental. 4 shots to the face is intention. That is someone who looked at Qualeisha Barnes specifically and made a deliberate, calculated decision. This was personal, and anyone willing to sit with that detail for more than a second already knows it. Like, her family knew it too. They were not surprised by the word targeted. They were not shocked when investigators pointed toward someone firing into the vehicle from outside. Because according to the people who knew her and loved her, this did not come out of nowhere. There was a reason, and they believe they know exactly what that reason was. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the street itself. Because the location of this crime is one of the most important pieces of this entire story. Springside Place Southeast is a residential street on the southeast side of Atlanta. It ends in a cul-de-sac at the top of a hill. 1 road in, 1 road out. That is it. If you are on that street at 1:30 in the morning and you do not live there, people notice. And in this day and age, cameras notice even more than people do. That entire block is lined with residential surveillance, Ring doorbells, Google Nest cameras, security systems on corners. Investigators estimated at least 3 to 4 cameras within direct range of where Qualeisha's Range Rover came to rest. 1 way in, 1 way out. Which means that whatever vehicle the shooter arrived in had to travel that road twice, coming and going. You cannot pull off something on a street like that and vanish without leaving something behind. The geometry of that block alone makes disappearing nearly impossible. Atlanta police classified this as a homicide immediately. Lieutenant Christopher Butler, who became the lead voice of the investigation in the early days, confirmed that the evidence pointed to someone firing into the vehicle from outside. His words were careful, but clear. Upon arrival, they located a 36-year-old female deceased inside the vehicle from apparent gunshot wounds. At this point, it appears that someone fired into the vehicle. When pressed on suspects, he was honest about where they were. No indication right now. Early days. But he made one appeal that became central to everything moving forward: the anonymous tip line. He urged the public, people don't really understand it. It is anonymous, so if anybody has any information, they can call in and leave a tip. We really appreciate those tips, and they're very valuable. Anyways, investigators did not stand still. Officers remained on that street for hours, processing the scene, canvassing for camera footage, going door to door with neighbors. A tow truck eventually arrived to remove Qualeisha's white Range Rover from the roadway, the same car with the red bow, being towed away from the street where she took her last breath. They also began retracing her movements. Where had she been that night? Who had she been with? How did she end up on that particular street at that particular hour? According to her family, she was on her way to someone's house. A normal thing, a safe thing. She never got there. And as the sun came up over Atlanta and the news started spreading, one question was sitting in the center of all of it. Not who did this, but why? Because the family already had an answer to the who question forming. And the streets were already talking. Let's be clear about something. The Atlanta Police Department was not treating this like a maybe. From the moment officers arrived on that street and found Qualeisha in that driver's seat, they were treating it as exactly what it was, a targeted homicide. And the work that followed was immediate. Officers spent hours on Springside Place Southeast that morning, processing the scene, collecting physical evidence, knocking on doors, pulling camera footage from every angle they could find. And given what that street looks like, one road in, one road out, lined with Ring doorbells and security cameras on nearly every home, investigators had reason to believe that whatever happened in those final minutes before Qualeisha drew her last breath, something caught it. Some camera somewhere on that block had a record of who came down that road that night. So what? That means the shooter, or whoever was driving that vehicle, passed those cameras at least twice. Once coming in, once leaving. On a residential street at 1:30 in the morning, with no reason to be there unless they had a reason to be there. That is not nothing. That is a trail. Lieutenant Christopher Butler became the face of the investigation in those early days, and he was steady in front of the cameras, careful, but not cold. When reporters pushed him on suspects, he stayed honest. They were still in the early stages, still piecing together what happened. But he was consistent about one thing. This was not self-inflicted, and it did not appear to be random. Someone fired into that vehicle from the outside. That was the conclusion the evidence was already pointing toward. He kept coming back to the tip line. Crime Stoppers Atlanta, 404-577 tips. Anonymous, no names attached, and he was direct about why it mattered. People don't really understand it. It is anonymous, so if anybody has any information, they can call in and leave a tip. We really appreciate those tips, and they're very valuable. Girl, on a street like that, in a neighborhood like that, somebody saw something, whether it was a car they did not recognize, a sound that woke them up, a timestamp on a doorbell camera they have not even checked yet. Somebody on that block has a piece of this puzzle, and investigators knew it. They were also working backward, through Qualeisha's night, retracing her steps. Who had she spoken to? Where had she been before that street? Who knew she was going to be there? Because here is the thing about a cul-de-sac with one entrance. You do not end up at the top of that hill by accident. You go there because you are going somewhere specific. And whoever was waiting for her, or followed her there, knew that too. Anyways, as the investigation was moving forward publicly, something else was happening simultaneously, and it was louder, and it was rawer, and it was coming directly from the people who loved Qualeisha the most. The streets were already talking before the crime scene tape came down, and what they were saying, what has been circulating across social media, across communities in both Atlanta and Detroit, lines up almost too cleanly with what Qualeisha's own family has been implying in every interview they have given. So let's lay it out, not as confirmed fact, because investigators have not confirmed a motive publicly, but as the theory that the people closest to this case believe to be true. Qualeisha, according to what has been widely alleged online, was involved with a man who was married. Around the same time that Qualeisha became pregnant, his wife had also recently had a child of her own. 2 women, 2 pregnancies, 1 man in the middle of all of it. When Qualeisha's pregnancy became known, allegedly, this man panicked. The timing was too close. The overlap was too obvious. The secret was too big to contain if she moved forward. And according to what people are saying, he made it known that he wanted her to end the pregnancy. She said no. She chose to keep her baby. She was 14 weeks along, and she had made her decision. And that should have been the end of it. That should have been where he had to figure out his own situation and leave her alone to live her life. But according to the theory that has taken hold across these communities, that is not where it ended. Instead, the situation reportedly escalated beyond words, beyond arguments, beyond pressure. Because when she held her ground and made clear she was moving forward with her pregnancy, allegedly, a decision was made. And that decision reportedly came with a price tag of $30,000. $30,000. Allegedly paid to have Qualeisha Barnes silenced permanently. Her life and the life of her unborn child reportedly reduced to a transaction. A number on a table, arranged, paid, and then carried out on a quiet residential street in the middle of the night, on a road with one entrance and one exit, by someone who came specifically for her. Make it make sense, because a woman said she wanted to keep her baby, a choice that belongs to her and nobody else. And if this theory is true, that choice is what cost her everything. Now here is why so many people find this nearly impossible to dismiss. It does not just live on the internet as a rumor. It lines up piece by piece with what the family has already said out loud, in front of cameras, to reporters, on the record. The mother pointing to someone who instigated the situation. The family's certainty that multiple people are responsible, not just one. Their confidence that they already know the motive and have known it from the beginning. The deliberate execution-style nature of the shooting itself, confirmed by the investigators on scene. Oh, so now, when you lay all of those pieces side by side, the picture they form is hard to look away from. A woman with a secret someone desperately needed kept. A woman who refused to cooperate with that secret. And a crime that, by every marker investigators and her family have pointed to, was planned, was personal, and was carried out with precision. 4 shots to the face is not a warning. It is a finality. It is someone making absolutely sure there is no coming back from it. And Qualeisha Barnes never got a chance to tell her side of any of it. Her mother, Francine Lopez-Stewart, stepped in front of cameras, and she did not hold back. She did not speak in careful, measured language. She spoke like a mother who had just lost her child, and was not about to let the people responsible get comfortable. She remembered Qualeisha, not as a rapper, not as a CEO, not as a public figure with a following, but as Lele, the girl in the house, the one who made everyone laugh, the one who was 2 semesters away from becoming a nurse and could not stop talking about how proud she was of herself. That was her daughter. That was who she lost. And then Francine Lopez-Stewart said something publicly that shifted the entire conversation. She made clear that she believes more than one person is responsible for what happened to her daughter. Not just whoever physically carried it out, but whoever set it in motion. She was deliberate about drawing that line. If you instigate something that causes a murder, then you need to go to jail too. Let that sit for a second. She is not talking about the shooter exclusively. She is pointing further back, at someone who may never have been anywhere near that street that night, but who, in her belief, is just as responsible for her daughter being gone. Someone who allegedly put something in motion and let someone else carry it out. That word, instigate, is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this story, because it tells you that in this family's understanding of what happened, there is a chain, a decision made somewhere, by someone, that ended on that street with 4 shots. And the mother wants every single link in that chain held accountable. Her sister Shatara, breaking down as she spoke to reporters, brought it back to the most basic truth of all. No stage name, no social media, no tribute post or headline could capture what was actually lost in that Range Rover. I know her as Qualeisha. I know her as Lily. I know her as we in the same house, in the same bed. That's what I know her as. All that friend stuff, I don't care about none of that. That was my sister. That was my baby. I said what I said, and Shatara said what she said. That right there is the whole story in 2 sentences. Not a rapper, not a brand, her person, her family, the one she grew up next to. Fox 2. Detroit reported something that quietly became one of the most significant details in the public conversation around this case. The family believes they already know exactly why Qualeisha was targeted. They have not laid out every detail publicly, likely out of caution, likely because the investigation is still active and they do not want to compromise anything. But they are not confused. They are not wondering. They know. And they are cooperating with investigators while making it crystal clear that they want everyone involved held fully accountable. Not just the shooter, not just the person who allegedly made the call. Everyone in the chain. Every single person whose hand was in this, directly or indirectly, is who this family is pushing for. And they have not gone quiet. and they are not going to. Her cousin Monica Barnes posted on Facebook, "Life is not fair. Y'all didn't have to do her like that. SIP Qualeisha Barnes, aka Siditty. My blood cousin is gone. Lord Jesus, please keep my family in your prayers." Someone else from the community wrote, "This pain is unreal. Y'all took a real boss." In Detroit, the media company Detroit Got Talent posted a tribute honoring Qualeisha as one of their city's own, a woman who had touched lives across 2 cities, 2 communities, and left behind a hole that the people who knew her are still trying to make sense of. But hey, tributes, as beautiful and necessary as they are, do not bring someone home. And right now, as of this recording, no arrest has been made. No suspect has been publicly named. No official motive has been confirmed on record by investigators. The case is active. The surveillance footage is still being reviewed. The tip line is still open. Crime Stoppers Atlanta, 404-577-TIPS. Anonymous. If you know something, if you saw something, if you have been sitting on information because you are scared or unsure, that line exists for exactly that reason. What happened to Qualeisha Barnes on that street deserves an answer. Her family deserves an answer. And that baby she was carrying deserved a chance at life that someone allegedly took before it even began. The pieces are there. The motive, according to the people who loved her most, is known. What is still missing is an arrest. And until that changes, Qualeisha Barnes and her unborn child are still waiting. Here is what stays with you after you learn about Qualeisha Barnes. There are women right now in cities across this country who find themselves in situations where a choice that is entirely and completely theirs becomes a problem for someone else. Someone with something to lose, someone with resources, someone who has decided that their comfort, their reputation, their secret is worth more than another person's life. And when a woman in that situation holds her ground, when she says no, when she refuses to disappear quietly, sometimes the response is catastrophic. Like, we talk about domestic violence and intimate partner crimes like they always look a certain way. Like there is always a pattern everyone can see coming. Like there are always signs that people ignored. But sometimes it does not look like that at all. Sometimes it looks like a normal night. A woman on her way to someone's house, a regular street in a regular neighborhood, and then silence where a future used to be. That is why this channel exists. That is exactly why these stories need to be told out loud, in full, with every detail intact. Because the more we understand how these things actually happen, the harder it becomes for them to keep happening without consequence. Qualeisha's family is not being quiet. They are pushing. They are vocal. They are cooperating with investigators, and they are making it clear to anyone who will listen that they want everyone involved held fully accountable. Not just the person who physically pulled the trigger. Every person whose decision, whose money, whose silence contributed to what happened on that street. Every single one. And the community responded. Detroit and Atlanta both. Because Qualeisha had roots in both cities and had touched people in both places. Her cousin, her neighbors, people who had followed her music, bought from her boutique, watched her build. The tributes came hard and they came fast, and every single one of them said the same thing underneath all the different words. This did not have to happen. She did not deserve this. She was supposed to make it home. Her sister said it the clearest. No hashtag, no tribute, no viral post will ever fully capture what Shatara Davis lost when she lost her sister. I know her as Qualeisha. I know her as Lily. I know her as we, in the same house, in the same bed. That's what I know her as. All that friend stuff, I don't care about none of that. That was my sister. That was my baby. Moving on, because if we sit in that grief without doing something with it, we miss the whole point. No arrest has been made. No suspect has been publicly named. No official motive has been confirmed. But the case is active. The surveillance footage from that cul-de-sac is still being reviewed. The neighbors are still being interviewed. The timeline of Qualeisha's last hours is still being reconstructed. And the anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers Atlanta, 404-577-TIPS, remains open right now. today for anyone who knows anything. Because here's the truth about a street with one way in and one way out, lined with cameras, in a neighborhood where people pay attention. Somebody knows something. Maybe it is a neighbor who noticed a car that did not belong there. Maybe it is someone who got a call that night that did not sit right. Maybe it is someone who has been carrying information and does not know what to do with it. That tip line exists for exactly that person. What is missing right now is not evidence. The geometry of that street alone almost guarantees there is evidence. What is missing is an arrest. And until there is one, Qualeisha Barnes and her unborn child are still waiting for the justice they are owed. Period. This case is a reminder, and I want to say this clearly, that danger does not always come from a stranger. It does not always come from someone you never met. Sometimes it comes from someone who had your number saved in their phone, someone who knew your schedule, someone who knew exactly which street you would be turning down at 1:30 in the morning, someone who allegedly decided that a secret was worth more than your life. That is the reality that this channel refuses to look away from, because these are not just crime stories. They are love stories that went wrong, relationships that turned dangerous, situations where the person who was supposed to be safe turned out to be the threat. And the women at the center of these stories, women like Qualeisha, deserve to be known as more than a headline, more than a case number, more than a name that trends for 3 days and then disappears. Qualeisha Barnes was somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's cousin, a whole, full, layered, ambitious, funny, beautiful human being with plans and dreams and a child on the way who deserved to be born into this world, a woman who deserved to make it home that night. She did not get that, but she is going to get this. Her story told fully, her name said clearly, and a community that refuses to let it go cold. Rest easy, Qualeisha. Rest easy, Lele. You deserved so much better than what this world gave you. And to anyone watching this who is in a situation that feels complicated, that feels like it is closing in, that feels like someone else has power over a choice that is yours, please hear this. Your life is worth more than anyone's secret. Get somewhere safe. Tell someone you trust. Because we do not want to be telling your story on this channel. We want you here, living it. If this story moved you, share it. Because the more eyes on a case like this, the harder it becomes for it to go cold. Drop a comment below. Do you think justice will be served? Do you think the full truth is going to come out? Let us know where you stand. And if you are new here, subscribe to Crime Narrative. Because this is what we do. We sit with the stories that do not get enough attention. We say the names that deserve to be remembered. And we do not stop until there is accountability. This was the story of Qualeisha Barnes, known to the world as Siditty, known to her family simply as Lele. We see you, and we are not letting you go.